So all of that, the history and legacy of Atlanta. You've got folks, who are incredible leaders like Andy Maynard and a whole slew of folks whose names we'll never know. Then again, I want to go back to this point. You decide I want to run for mayor. So here's why I always think it's funny, and I always joke with friends in elected office, because you got to have a little bit of ego, I think, to run for elected office, right? Like, it's this idea that out of all these other folks, right, there are tens of thousands of people in this city. Send me, right? Like, I want to go, and there's ego in that, and sure, I can play a violin. We can talk about public service and the heart for people, and all this stuff is important, but going from behind the snes to stepping out in front, right? How did you get there?
It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wasn't interested.
Yeah.
I've been in city government for 10 years, or maybe a little longer than that. I've been at the Olympics. I had a really great routine. Every Friday I went to the movies.
Yeah.
Often, with a friend, sometimes alone. Sometimes I'd see 2 movies on a Friday. I started at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock first show.
Yeah.
Just in my solitude. Remember, I'm an only child.
Mm-hmm.
In a town where I did not grow up, so I don't have this wide network of childhood friends and things like that. And I was fine. I had a small public affairs firm, maybe 5 or 6 clients. Never had more than 5 or 6. Turned business down because I didn't want to be too busy.
Gotta keep the Fridays open.
Gotta keep Friday open, right?
Yeah.
And Andy started talking to me about running in the 1980s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He wanted me to do more public speaking because he thought I might need it down the road. I was like, man, please, I'm going to be in the background. It's much easier to tell you what to do
Right.
than for me to do it, right? And then Maynard and Andy, I'm told, got together. And they met with me separately to tell me they thought I should run for mayor. This would have been 98 or so. So, or maybe even before that. I guess it was mid-90s, really. A couple of business people, Bob Holder and Tom Cousins, came to me and suggested that I run for mayor. And then a handful of women came to me, black and white professional women, about 6 or 7 of them. They invited me to a meeting. And the meeting was about me running for mayor. It's like, woo, slow down, folks.
Wow. So did you know when you were on your way to the meeting that's
I did not know.
Okay.
I did not know.
So you walk in.
I sit down and they're like, they wanted to talk to me about something.
Okay.
And I get there and they start talking to me. It was a cross section of women: Veronica Biggins and Maria Saporta and Ingrid and Juanita Barranco. It was just several other women.
Wow, that's a good kitchen cabinet.
And they, we think you really should run. So it's like, what? So all that's going on, periodically, not every day. I'm still not paying a whole lot of attention to it. Driving out of a parking lot at what was Colony Square, I guess, parking lot. And I'm paying my bill. And the clerk says to me, "Aren't you that lady from City Hall?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You really ought to run for mayor."
It's everybody. It's in the water.
Holy Moses. This is a scary thought now, right? So I still was not sure. Maynard took me to lunch. And he was very direct with me. He said, "I'm here because Andy and I think you should run for mayor. We think you'd be a good mayor. And we think you can win." Just the 2 of us. I listened. But if you are not going to run, and this is 3 years before the election. 3 years.
Yep.
If you're not going to run, you need to tell us so you can get out of the way and we can find somebody else. We do not need you fooling around with this.
Right. Half in, half out.
And no, we're not having it.
Yep.
Okay? So I had learned a little bit about negotiation. So I negotiated with him if he would give me a year to think about it and to organize myself and not talk to me about it. Not call me every week, not tell anybody else. Give me a year just to get myself together. There was a chance I would run. Okay? In other words, give me some space, brother, you know? So I had this idea. This was 99, 98. And the whole world was talking about the Y2K and whether the computers are going to crash and all of that. So I thought, well, you know, I'm about to crash because this is a lot of pressure. So I found a psychologist and I started going to counseling. And I spent 7 or 8 months with a professor, Dr. Edith Fresh. And we talked about all kinds of things. And when I walked in, she wanted to know, well, why are you here? I said, well, I'll tell you what, I got a lot of stuff, foolishness that is developed over the years, and I want to leave it right here. So when the world changes to Y2K, I'm a new person.
I hear that. It's deep.
And a story I don't tell, and the people involved do not know this happened. But I had a client. Remember I told you I had a small public affairs firm. And I went to 2 political friends, one white, one black, about helping my client expand some business opportunities. And the black guy, and each said, okay, we'll look into it. They were both in a position to influence an outcome. And when my client didn't get the business, I went back to them and said, you didn't even call and tell me. Individually, I said this to them. And they blamed each other.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And I got in the car that day. And remember, all this has been going around, on for a couple of years. I got in the car and I called Cabral. And I said, I'm running for mayor.
Wow.
He said, what happened? Because I hadn't really been serious about it. So I told him what happened. And he said, oh, Mom, you'll feel better tomorrow. I said, no, I've decided. I said, here's the deal. These are political friends. We've been in the trenches together, okay? They don't take me seriously. I said, all they need to say is they couldn't do it or they changed their mind, or, I mean, a straight answer, right? I said, they don't take women seriously. I bet if I run for mayor, they will.
And I have a choice.
I said, I bet if I run for mayor and I win. I said, I bet they'll take us seriously then.
Wow. That's awesome.
I came home. I started organizing to run for mayor. I never looked back.
So did you feel the weight of, so like, that's a deeply personal story, right? And I think personally, I feel like what makes for the best public servants is when they're driven by that kind of, I call it the thing in the back of your neck, your why, ultimately. Like that.
Oh no, I mean, it was like, okay. Okay, now I get it, okay? I said, women, I had been thinking about it because of the women who would approach me. I've been thinking about it because we were telling young girls that they could be anything they wanted to be. But in fact, there are these ceilings, right? So I finally said, okay, so now let's just see. So if I get elected, I bet we'll have a different level of conversation then.
Sure.
But you know, even years later, after being elected, and I find myself sometimes saying to folks, let me back you up just a little bit, okay? These are usually one-on-one conversations. Let me back you up. Nobody gave me this, okay? I might know what I'm talking about. But there's this like haze, this perspective that a woman couldn't do it, or didn't do it, or isn't equal to the task, or I don't know what it is. So it's hundreds of years of women being property is what it is. And it's really hard to get that out of the DNA, right?